Uber, Bitcoin, self-driving cars. Combine those three together, and you have the self-owning taxi. A car that is a corporation that owns itself, pays for the car lease, the car insurance, and the gasoline from the revenues it makes, giving passengers a ride, and there's not a single human involved in that matter.
Go straight actually to the halving or the halvening. Yeah. What do you make of that?
Yeah, it happens every 4 years.
You're a believer in the logic behind it?
Yes, it makes sure like central governments can keep producing new currency, which creates inflation. Bitcoin was created the other way to reduce the supply, which makes it more deflationary. So it's a great mechanism they built into the system, and it happens every 4 years. And it's scheduled to happen next April 27th, around roughly that date. And so right around a year from now. And you're going to start seeing a lot of media frenzy happening 6 months to, around that should start happening. And then you'll start seeing the price run up a little bit.
Tempting is it to take whatever you're building out to the United States?
Yeah, and again, companies like Coinbase, Gemini, my previous company, BitPay, we try to play by the rules, work with the SEC. We all got New York Bit licenses. We're trying to do it the right way. But I think the SEC is now really getting a little harder to work with, and they keep changing their mind on things. And for a company like Coinbase or Gemini that's trying to keep growing during crypto winter, it's hard for them to get full clarity on what to do. That's why they're looking offshore. And again, FTX, which went out of business, was created because a company called BitMEX ran into issues. And now with FTX gone, there's really a void in the international trading markets that's going to Binance instead. And companies like Gemini and Coinbase see a big opportunity if they can get this derivatives market and things like that Binance has been focusing on.
And so I have deep empathy for those artists and those creatives who are asking themselves, what's going to happen next with this technology? I think to remind ourselves is that we're still very early. And what we need to do is open the conversation to have more people come in and understand how you're going to start leveraging this technology in your art practice. I think that for me is really, really important and something we practice in Runway kind of like from the very beginning. I started Runway like 4 or 5 years ago. I've been working on generative models and creative tools for the last 8 years or so. When we started, it was hard. Generative AI wasn't really a thing, and people told us we were crazy. Like generative AI was never going to be a thing.
Really? They did as little as 4 years ago?
Yeah, 4 years ago, people were like, Chris, this is not a thing. Generative AI is not a market. And so the one thing that I think has changed now is I don't have to convince more people that this is worth paying attention to. That's for sure. But we're very fortunate to be able to work with investors that believed in that very early on, where perhaps there weren't as much proof points, and it's a long-term bet. But I go back to what I mentioned before. It's still very early, and a lot of what needs to be built around the industry at large is still yet to be built. And so there's a lot of opportunities for more investors to invest.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And you know I come back with that video just to make you think.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
And guys, we know we're a little over a year for the next Bitcoin halving. And going back to these Bitcoin halving pumps, who did it all, guys? That's right, the Fed. And we know most likely around the time of the Bitcoin halving, we're going to see the Fed start cutting rates. But guys, all we have to do is keep our eye on the Fed to see whether they're going to bring liquidity back in the market. And guys, we have AI being constantly pushed by the mainstream media. And we know AI, robots, algorithms, and drones are about to take over this economy. And we especially know AI is going to replace majority of creators. And AI just didn't pop up. We know the NWO has been working on AI for decades. And then, guys, we have the debt ceiling. And we know the debt ceiling is just a distraction to lead us up to the next crisis. And we know we heard those drums are beating. Because we know the NWO has to set up a big enough distraction so therefore they can run the money in the back door, so therefore they can start building this fourth industrial revolution. But remember, guys, they have to destroy this legacy market. And now housing is under attack. And I talked about this yesterday. But now they're going to be subsidizing the high-risk home buyer. Guys, remember, no jobs. But guess what's coming? That's right, universal basic income. So remember, guys, the goal. You will own nothing, but you will be happy. And that's the reason why now they're trying to push financial education inside the schools. Now that they're done with this debt-based system and they're going to be handing out free money, now it's time to educate the people. And they know if they educated the people on this current system, it would have never worked. Remember, guys, they're printing money off the printing press and took over the globe. Yes, it sounds unbelievable, but remember, your life is an illusion and TV is your reality. And remember, the crypto teacher told you, because he knows. When it comes to the New World Order, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
Well, House Republicans under Kevin McCarthy, Joe, are not going to let this country default on its responsibilities. McCarthy has been trying to get the president, Joe Biden, to negotiate on a debt ceiling deal since the beginning of this Congress. And he's been told at least a couple of times by the president that he's willing to negotiate, but there's been absolutely no movement. So House Republicans are going to do what we've been doing since the beginning of this Congress. We're going to lead. We're going to pass a debt ceiling proposal off the House floor and send it over to the Senate, and we'll hopefully either get that passed into law or the president and this administration will finally want to talk about it.
Jed Gregg, he's very worried this time that we actually don't get this done in terms of the debt limit, and it's something, obviously, we don't want that to happen. No one's ever seen what would happen if we got to that point. What would be acceptable from what comes back?
What's acceptable right now, Joe, is exactly what Republicans are going to pass. Not just that pre-pandemic level of spending with 1% caps, which will save about $3.39 trillion, but the REINS Act, for instance, that has been scored as a potential savings of $600 billion or more. I think it will be more. This is the law that would require any government agency that's enacting a rule that's going to have $100 million or more impact on our economy, that would have to be approved by Congress. Those work requirements will save about $135 billion, and more importantly, will help restart our economy by getting able-bodied, working-aged adults without dependents back into the workforce. So I think the proposal that House Republicans are going to move off the floor this week, that is the compromise.
All right. Fingers crossed. At this point, what you think the chances, is it a zero chance that the debt limit, that this doesn't work? Is the chance zero? Because President Biden's got a lot. We talked about it, and he thinks that it will be blamed on the Republicans. That he has all the leverage, in his view.
Well, I mean, sadly, your previous guest, who believes that there's a big problem, apparently knows something that we don't on the other side of the aisle. The only way this doesn't work is if President Biden and the Democrats who are in charge decide they are going to allow this country to default. Republicans are not going to allow the country to default. And I would suggest that every fiscal reform in the last 30 years has been done the very way that we are proposing. And hopefully the president and Chuck Schumer and others on the other side of the aisle recognize this is not only the right thing to do, this is the responsible thing to do for the American people and our future, Joe.
But your point, it's going to be just, right now, it seems like we're not getting anywhere. They want a total clean raise. So they're going to point to you. You're not going to do the clean raise. You're going to point to them because they won't pass what you guys are. They won't sign off on that. So we're still in our corners, aren't we, Congressman?
Joe, there is no corner. Once the Republicans pass this, we will show you that we are not willing to allow this country to go into default. Then all the responsibility is going to be on the other side of the building and with the administration. We got to get this done for the American people, and hopefully Joe Biden will come up with some ideas, because he hasn't had any so far, and Chuck Schumer has been completely absent from the process. Hopefully that will change after Republicans pass this proposal this week.
What it'll mean for the average home buyer.
Well, look, with all the best intentions, the director of the regulator for Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, the FHFA, has been pushing both Fannie and Freddie to do better in providing affordable mortgage products for first-time home buyers, particularly with lower credit scores and lower down payments. Often that's filled with minority home buyers, African Americans and Hispanics, where the GSEs have just performed much worse than the FHA program and some other programs available. So in an effort to get there, they've, for the first time ever, really convoluted the pricing structure, where they are going to significantly lower what's called loan level price adjusters, individual fees for those low credit quality borrowers. And it's going to be cross-subsidized, which is just a way of paying for this, with borrowers with higher credit scores in the 700s with larger down payments. So their fees are going up while other fees are going down. The unfortunate reality, Becca, is that it really isn't going to be that effective. FHA is still a better rate for those low credit score borrowers. So we're going through this set of steps, and all it's going to end up doing is raising costs to a bunch of borrowers who are sort of traditional GSE borrowers. But the FHA will still be a cheaper rate for a borrower with a credit score below 700 and a very low down payment. So it really accomplishes little other than really disrupting a tradition around risk-based pricing that Fannie and Freddie have been committed to ever since their inception.
Professor Carly Urban has studied the outcomes.
When personal finance is required in high school, you see improvements in credit scores, you see reductions in delinquency rates, you see fewer payday borrowing choices, you see less reliance on credit cards.
In 8 states, all high school students are required to take a semester-long personal finance course before graduation, and 10 states are in the process of implementing that requirement.
Going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go, but clearly we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box provided to you by the People's Bank of China.
Crypto Teacher and the New World Order book, plus the 3 kids books. It's time to re-educate. Also, new to cryptos, Coinbase, BitChute, Binance. Do not forget book links and crypto links are in the description. The stock channel, guys. Don't forget to go like, subscribe, spread everywhere. You have your Kobo, your chip stocks, your banking, your gaming. While everybody's sitting at home, get home stocks, the Seaver, the biotech stocks. And while everybody's at home wishing they were still getting that free money, what are they doing? Drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks, and you have a wonderful day. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, you know I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids books. You know I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate. Not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Drama Team Save the Village. Part 2. King Joshua and Drama Team Save New York. From COVID-33. Part 3. King Joshua and Drama Team goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.